Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone. Just working on getting all of my things up and running. Hi, everybody. So, welcome to my second ever live YouTube show. So, I'm just going to go. What's confusing is that everyone's talking about sort of functional medicine or functional health, energy medicine, and energy healing. Like we all sort of know what those words mean, but most people don't. And if you don't understand what they are, and more importantly, how they're different from what you've already tried, you really can't make informed decisions about your health. So today I'm breaking it down. I'm Lisa Lansing, and this is Ritual and Science, where ancient healing practices meet modern functional health to create longevity in this modern era. In the last episode, we talked about your inner ecosystem, those bodies that are inside of us, the physical body, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic, and why you need to address all of them if you want to truly transform your health. But after that episode, I got questions like, well, what is functional health? Is that the same thing as holistic medicine? And what does energy work actually mean? Is it meditation? Is it Reiki? And how is what you're doing different from what my doctor does? And how is it different from going to traditional therapy? And these are all really great questions, because here's the thing. If you don't understand what your choices are, you can't really understand why you need both some kind of functional approach and an energetic approach. So today I'm going to explain what is functional health and how is it different from traditional medicine, what energy medicine is, and how it's different from things you may have tried, like talk therapy, stuff like that, and why, if you've tried one without the other, things aren't sticking. And by the end of this episode, you're going to understand both worlds, and you're going to see why integration is the missing piece. So let's go. All right. So before I define functional health, I think I want to give you a little context, because if you don't understand the context, the definition will be difficult to land. So let's just talk about the mainstream medical model. So the mainstream medical model is designed to diagnose and treat disease. So if you go in for your annual checkup, they run standard labs. And if something looks concerning when you get those lab results back, the system does what it's built to do. It investigates until it can name what's happening, give it a diagnosis, and then decide on treatment, usually medication, surgery, maybe some physical therapy, or symptom management. And I just want to make sure before I continue that this is really clear, and that is that I am not anti-doctor. Traditional medicine saves lives. And if you have an acute emergency, a major infection, a heart event, or you need surgery, you want the best medical approaches possible, because mainstream medicine is brilliant at crisis intervention. But the conventional model is not designed to optimize your body before crisis, before disease. It's designed to treat disease once it's identifiable. And I just want to make sure that you realize that this is not your doctor's fault. This is the system of medicine in America today. And, you know, this is where so many people get stuck, especially in midlife, because you go into your doctor and you say, I'm exhausted, my digestion's a mess, I'm anxious, I can't sleep, I think my hair is thinning, my weight is changing, and I don't feel like myself. And guess what? They run the standard labs and everything comes back normal. And you get told, well, maybe it's stress, try the Mediterranean diet and consider exercising more. And maybe they even say, here's a sleep aid, here's an antidepressant. And some people sort of walk out feeling a little dismissed because you know your body and you know something is off. But what the system is really saying to you is, you're not sick enough for me yet. And that gap is exactly what functional health is built to fill. Functional health doesn't start with what disease do you have? It starts with, where is there dysfunction in your system? What patterns are showing up across the whole body? How far have you strayed from function? And what's in the way of your body doing what it already knows how to do? Your body knows how to regulate, how to repair, and how to return to balance. So functional health is really an optimization and prevention model because it assumes your body has innate intelligence. And our job as functional health practitioners is to identify what's disrupting that intelligence and then help you support the whole system back into function. So in functional health, we're not hunting for a diagnosis. We never diagnose. In fact, we're not really interested in your diagnosis. We're interested in the bottleneck. We're not waiting for disease. We work upstream. So you have a chance to change the trajectory before your body has to get louder to be heard. And that brings us to the practical question, what does it actually look like to work with a functional health practitioner? What's it look like to stop guessing, to stop chasing symptoms, and to start supporting the body at the level of root cause patterns? Well, first, we gather data. Now, most practitioners use a comprehensive intake where you rate your symptoms, your stress, your lifestyle, and overall patterns that you're experiencing in your life. And that helps guide us to decide what we're going to test. And when I say us, that's you and me, right? We do all of this together. We talk it out. What's your budget? And what are we really looking to achieve? So we gather data and we don't guess. We don't just suggest supplements based on your symptoms because that's really like throwing noodles at the wall and hoping they stick, right? We don't do that. We use information. So the plan is based on what your body is actually showing us. Now, most practitioners have a standard foundation of tests they like to use to gather data. And we all have sort of our own way of moving forward. And for me, I usually like to start with mineral testing because minerals are foundational. They're the spark plugs of metabolism, stress resilience, digestion, energy production, detoxification, hormone balance. I mean, it goes on because minerals help every single metabolic process in your body. And a mineral test can reveal a surprisingly deep picture of what's happening underneath the surface. And it gives us insight into trauma and long-term stress and how your body is managing them, which is something other tests just don't offer. So I like to start with mineral testing, but there are plenty of other foundational labs too. But once we have your mineral status, then we can start rebuilding the foundations of health. And this is really where the magic is for me, right? So not only do we rebuild your biochemical foundations, but we're also able to address your stress patterns and your neuronetworking hiccups. And after building these foundations, we're at a place where we can run additional labs, but only if we need to. Because the point isn't to overwhelm you with labs. The point is to identify the bottleneck. What's keeping you from coming back into homeostasis? And always, 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 we build a personal plan, something that's very personalized, that's specifically for you. It's not a template. It's not a one-size-fits-all protocol. Because truly, these one-size-fits-all protocols, that might sort of work for a minute or two. You might get a little bit of boost for a couple of weeks, but in the long run, it's not going to sustain your health because you need something that's targeted. So we work on a plan that supports your body in the simplest, most targeted way possible so you can actually follow it and your system can actually respond. That plan might include, say, targeted mineral support, small dietary shifts that match your metabolism, some gut support, nervous system regulation, sleep, and circadian rhythm work because, circadian rhythms are really important. And then maybe some gentle detox support if your body is ready for it. Now, most people, you're not ready for it right away. You need to build some health before you get into detox. And for a lot of people, when you finally give the body what it needs, things start to shift. Energy comes back, digestion improves, sleep gets better, brain fog lifts, and anxiety calms. But here's the catch, and this is where we bridge into ritual, not just science. Even the best data and the cleanest protocol can hit a wall if your nervous system doesn't feel safe. And I guarantee you, most people live in a place where their nervous system is not safe and they don't know it. If your system is running an old chronic stress response, burnout, some unresolved trauma from the past, or some energetic imprints, your body can't stay in rest and repair long enough for the physical work to hold. And most people, again, are just so used to being in chronic stress, they're not even aware that they're still there. You get so used to it, you think it's your new normal. And that's why some women get quick wins and then they plateau, or they slide backwards the moment life gets stressful again. Because the body isn't just chemistry, it's also signal, safety, energy. And that's where the second half of this conversation really matters. I just want to reiterate something is that in my practice, I see over and over again, women making these incredible strides. They're doing so well and they're just feeling so good. And then they reach a point where they're just plateau. And then when life gets stressful again, they drop. Like maybe they go on a big vacation and their bodies can't take it and they get sick again. Or maybe some big life event happens and the stress comes back. And then they're like, well, my digestive issues are back. And that is truly because you cannot get better. You cannot get better if your nervous system is running a pattern of fight or flight. And we are so inundated in this culture with stress. It's so beyond what our grandparents faced that most people are living in this place of fight or flight and they don't know it. So now let's talk a little bit about my favorite topic, energy medicine. Sometimes I'll just say energy work, what it is, how it's different from, say, talk therapy. I think that's really important. I'm a big advocate of talk therapy, and why it changes everything when the body is stuck. So, energy medicine is the ancient art of working with the subtle body. And I talked last week about the energetic field. Some call it the luminous body. We have energy centers, we have energetic pathways that run through the body. Our energy centers are attached to nerve bundles and specific endocrine glands. So, our energy body is a lot more attached to our biochemical body than we really understand. So, the energetic field and what I call your energy body, all of this, it's the part of you that sort of exists beyond and in continuum with the physical. So, energy medicine and energy work is about helping your system transmute what's been held in your field or in your energy centers. So, that could be trauma patterns, that could be inherited patterns from parents, grandparents, emotional density, energetic imprints that can keep the nervous system braced even when life looks fine on paper. And I try to say this in a grounded way because I know some people hear energy work and immediately think it's abstract and woo woo. Yeah, woo, and just positive thinking. And, if that's your belief, that's fine. But there are so many of us, particularly in the transformational culture, who know that it's not. Energy work has many layers, but one of its biggest strengths is this: it helps your system create safety and lasting coherence. So the physical body can actually receive the support you're giving it. Because here's what I have seen over and over again: you can balance someone's minerals, you can support their gut, you can optimize their hormones, their stress hormones, their sex hormones. But if their nervous system is still running the old program, fight or flight, hypervigilance, bracing, shutdown, burnout, you name it, they may get some progress, but then they either plateau or snap back. And what energy work does, it helps the body stop firing as if you're in danger. So you can truly shift out of survival mode and into a state where restoration is possible and where rewiring neural networks takes place. The other thing I love about energy medicine is that it helps you reconnect to your essence. It's that part of you that knows who you are beneath the stress response, beneath the coping, and beneath the identity you built to survive. And when that coherence comes online, the physical body can finally respond to minerals, to gut support, to balancing hormones, to nourishment and rest, without immediately getting hijacked by that old loop. And that's why it's really important to understand that energy work doesn't replace functional health. Like, once you have a biochemical imbalance, you must address it biochemically and energetically. Doing energy work alone has a very small chance of completely healing a biochemical issue because it's too advanced. Once you start having symptoms, it's really too advanced, and you need functional health and energy work. So, what energy work does is that it helps functional health work better. And it's really different than talk therapy, right? So let me be really clear. I'm not anti-therapy. I love therapy. I come from a long line of therapists, and I think therapy is really valuable, and that really everyone at least once in their life should go to a therapist. So if you need to process your story, if you need to understand your patterns, build tools, work through relationships, and learn new ways to respond to life, therapy is really powerful. Somatic therapy, EMDR, CBT, there's so many different modalities that help people heal, and I respect that work deeply. My mom is a therapist, and she is an amazing human, and the light she brings to the world, I think, is really important. But here's the difference. So, talk therapy works primarily with the mind and mental health. It helps you name what happened, to contextualize it, to give it meaning. Whereas energy medicine and energy they work primarily with the imprint beneath the story. Energy work looks through the nervous system, the body, and the subtle field. It helps your system transmute what's been held so it no longer runs the same stress response on repeat. Because you can understand your trauma cognitively, but that's not the same thing as transforming the way your body responds to trauma when those old patterns get activated. Because your nervous system doesn't speak English, it speaks sensation, rhythm, breath, energy. Therapy can help you understand your story, and energy work can help you shift the charge underneath it. Energy work helps you rewrite your story so that you're not just coping with the pattern, you're actually changing the pattern. And I'm not saying it's either or. For a lot of people, the most powerful path is both, right? But every practitioner works differently. And I think what's important is that you understand, what does it look like to do energy work? What is energy medicine? What does it look like? So just like in functional health, every practitioner works differently. But if you were to work with me, here's what you can expect. And I don't really want to turn this sacred script into a story, because some things are really meant to be experienced, not explained. So let me start by saying, usually when you do any kind of energy work with me, we always begin by creating sacred space. And I want you to think of that as stepping out of ordinary time and into a field with intention. We call that sort of creating non-locality. And then we do a brief check-in, not a full life story, just enough to name what you're working on, what you've been carrying, what's been repeating in your life, and what you're ready to shift. Then we get into some ceremonial work. We get into grounding, regulation, we slow the breathing, we get out of the monkey mind and into a place of abiding calm. Because we really need your nervous system to feel resourced, because transformation doesn't happen through force, it happens through safety. And then from there, we really get to work. I might use sound, singing bowls, drums, rattles, because sound bypasses the analytical mind and speaks directly to the body and the heart. It helps your nervous system reorganize without needing to sort of figure it out, right? So the other thing to know is that in energy work, it's not necessarily about clearing your field, clearing the imprints. That's not what it is. It's about transmuting, because energy, we don't clear energy, we change it, right? And everyone has access to these gifts. This isn't just reserved for a few people. Every human has the ability to work with their energy body. And so what I do is I help you learn how to do that. And it helps your system transmute the energy that's heavy, energy that might be inherited, that's not aligned, so that you can return to a place of coherence, of truth, and vitality. And everyone leaves with a small piece of integration, some kind of simple practice that helps seal the shift and anchor what's changed. Because one of the things that energy medicine does is that it helps with something called neurosculpting. And neurosculpting is all a part of neuroplasticity and how we attempt to rewire the brain. And so sometimes you need a simple practice that helps you seal that rewiring. You might get a gentle ritual or some kind of grounding practice, nothing too complicated, but something that's just enough to help your system hold what's opened. And the important thing to recognize about energy medicine and energy work is that the goal isn't to fix you. It's to help you remember who you are beneath the survival response, the roles you play, and all of the noise of your life. So your body and your spirit and your energy can come into the clearest coherence for you. And it's something that you do. And energy practitioners are just conductors helping you get there. So now let me see if I can just share a story so that you can have a little more context. So, the first step is understanding patterns, but then we also want to start living from a slightly different frequency. And that's what I mean about coming into coherence. Like, you could be here. And then we really want to get into a place that's a different frequency. So I just want to tell you a little bit about Grace. Grace came to me after years of playing small. Oh, and Grace isn't her real name, by the way. So she came to me after years of playing small. She was so successful on paper. She had a great job, good life, but she felt disconnected. All of her labs were normal, right? Everything was great. She was very controlled, and she felt like she was living someone else's version of her life. She had digestive issues, anxiety, and sleep issues. She had done talk therapy, so she really understood her patterns. She knew why she was sort of holding herself back, but knowing didn't change anything. Her body still felt tight. Her voice still felt small, and she felt like she was just watching her life from the outside rather than actually living in it. So we went ahead and ran a mineral test, and while those results were coming back, we started with energy work. And after her first session, she texted me and she said something like, "I feel full, like I embody to my edges with my body just fully expanded and full." And that week, her dreams started flooding back. She started remembering her dreams. She started journaling every day, and visions for her future started pouring out of her. And she said, "I feel flooded with myself again." And then over the next few weeks, things started to shift quickly. She was integrating our sessions and started making small health changes, tiny little diet shifts, supplementing to support her mineral balance. And she started doing some rituals around sleep and rest. And wouldn't you know, her conversations at work became more easeful, lighter. She stopped over attaching to outcomes. She started reclaiming her calendar, her confidence, and her voice. And she said, "I feel like I've lived 5 years in just 2 days, like a timeline jump." Because the ideas that had been stuck for years suddenly started synchronizing and manifesting within 48 hours. It's incredible, really. And she started showing up differently, not just at work, but in her whole life, she had more energy. She described it as shedding old skin. I love that. And stepping into a new era of power and grace. And you know what? This is why I teach integration, because energy work can unlock something profound. But for that transformation to be sustainable, the physical body still needs support, minerals, metabolism support, gut health, sleep, nervous system capacity, so that your system has the foundation to hold the expansion. You need both, not because one fixes the other, not because functional health fixes energy and energy fixes functional health. No, but because they work together. Energy work addresses what functional health can't touch. Functional health stabilizes what energy work unlocks. Together, that's integration. So I just want to say that one more time. Energy work addresses what functional health can't touch. Functional health stabilizes what energy work unlocks. And together, that is integration. So now you sort of understand what functional health is, you understand what energy work is, and you can feel, hopefully, why neither one on its own always creates lasting change. Integration is really what makes it stick. And integration means that we're not chasing symptoms. We're not just chasing insight, right? We're addressing the whole inner ecosystem. We're addressing the physical body, the mental, emotional body is affected, the spiritual body is affected, and of course, the energetic body makes some profound shifts. So your system can shift, your whole inner ecosystem, and then actually hold those shifts. So here's what that looks like in practice. We support the physical body with targeted testing and foundational protocols. So your metabolism has the minerals it needs, your gut can absorb what you're eating, your detox pathways can actually move, and your body has the raw materials for repair. We also build nervous system capacity, because if your system doesn't feel safe, it's not going to stay in rest and repair long enough for anything to rebuild. We work with the mental emotional loops, the patterns, the beliefs, the roles, the old wiring. So your brain stops rerunning those same stress stories on repeat. And we reconnect you to meaning, to purpose, your calling, what I call your nectar. Because when you remember why you're here, your entire system reorganizes, your choices change, your energy changes, and your life starts aligning. And we work directly with the energetic body, transmuting imprints, restoring coherence, and strengthening your signal. So you're not unconsciously living old programming. And this is the key. We don't do it one body at a time. We're not just going to look at your physical body and then we're going to work on your mental, emotional body and then maybe trying to connect you to a greater purpose. That's not how it works. You don't fix your gut and then we deal with trauma. No, we're not going to do energy work first and then we'll worry about minerals. No, we do everything simultaneously because your inner ecosystem is in constant conversation. If minerals are depleted, your nervous system can't regulate. It doesn't matter how much meditation or breath work you do, right? Your nervous system can't regulate. And if that can't regulate, it's hard to access intuition and spiritual connection and meaning and purpose. If your spirit feels really disconnected, the mind loops, and that gets more and more intrinsic. And those loops keep the body in survival, which then depletes the minerals again. So it's a cycle, and its integration is how we break the cycle. Yay for integration. And when you address it all together, this is what starts to change. your chemistry shifts, your sleep deepens, your mind clears, your resilience increases, and healing becomes coherent, embodied, and sustainable. And what I love more than anything is that you start connecting with the things in life that truly bring you joy, and you start identifying the things that are draining you. Even if the things that are draining you is how you make a living, you start to see, I need to make a shift. And this is exactly what I teach inside the Hummingbird Path, where ritual and science meet, so that you can restore your inner ecosystem and live the calling you already know is trying to come through. Now, here's what that can look like if you want to step inside this work with me. The Hummingbird Path is my 12-week signature journey where ritual and science meet. So you can balance your inner ecosystem without guesswork, stabilize your physical foundation, and come back into coherence, vitality, and purpose. Now, I do this through a really powerful Trinity process that moves you through 3 phases. So, the first phase is called Honor Your Energy. And this is where we focus on learning the basics of energetic coherence, nervous system safety, transmuting the patterns that keep you braced. So, you're not trying to heal from inside a constant stress response, right? So that's the first step. And then optimizing your vessel, right? This is the science side. We do a lot of energy work in this process as well, but your physical foundation needs to get supported. So we look at metabolism, minerals, digestion, sleep, and we look at the systems that you need support, and we can actually build energy and repair. We keep it simple, it's targeted, and it's sustainable. And then the final uh, pillar of the Trinity is embracing your ascension. And when I say ascension, I don't mean something lofty or out of reach. I mean alignment. I mean becoming the person who can hold the life you want to live, right? This is where we move into what I call nectar alignment, connecting you to what nourishes you. What is your calling? What is the next season of your life? What choices actually match who you are now so you can live the life that you're meant to live? And during this Hummingbird Path, we meet live in a rhythm that supports integration. So you have the momentum, but we also create space to actually absorb the work and let it take root. So the way it works is that it's a 12-week program. We meet for 3 weeks. We take a week off for integration. We meet for 3 weeks. You take a week off. It's that kind of cadence. And in between sessions, you'll have a portal with teachings and practices. I'll also go live with everyone for Q&A because we want to keep the work moving in real life. And I think it's important that we all show up authentically and have a direct experience. And this is transformation that becomes your new baseline. So, if this episode is hitting something true for you, right? If you're done cycling through one-dimensional solutions and you're ready for an integrated path, here are some next steps. So this just takes me a little bit of time to figure out here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, right? If you would like to join my mailing list, this is an online mailing list. Honestly, I don't send a ton of emails out at this stage, but I do try my best to keep you up to date on what's happening and what the specials are, etc. So this is join the mailing list, and you can use that little QR code. If you'd like to get on the early bird list for the Hummingbird Path, here is a QR code for that. And I'm going to be launching it later in the spring, and anyone who is on the early bird list will get extra discounts and bonuses. So that's exciting. But maybe you want to just get going and do some mineral testing now. Here is a link to purchase a body wisdom mineral analysis, which is a hair mineral tissue analysis, HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis. And it's a hair test that shows us really, it's like your hair is a diary and it has been recording things for the last 3 months, and that's what we're looking at, right? So that is the link to that. Now, for those of you who just need to come out of fight or flight, here is my sound bath link. I am doing right now live sound baths every Friday morning on TikTok. My TikTok handle is Crystal Morning Star. That's my spirit name. So you could sign up. And then at my brick and mortar here in Cleveland, Ohio, I do sound baths typically the last Wednesday of every month, but not this month because I am going to be at an amazing retreat. So you can always come live if you're interested in doing that, and you can sign up by shooting me an email. What else do I have? Well, maybe you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do, and you just want to book a call with me. Book a call, a 30-minute call. It's free. Let's get to know each other, and I can help get you in the right direction. Possibly you want to book an online energy session with me. They're typically 90 minutes. And you can see that there's a little code nectar, all caps. You get 10% off. Some of my energy sessions can run up to 2 hours. So just be careful that when you book, you have plenty of time before and after, a nice buffering there. And then lastly, I am a crystal healer, and I do readings through an ancient technique called lithomancy, which is a crystal stone toss. And this is a really positive sort of shamanic energy medicine meets ancient lithomancy. And so if you'd like to sign up for a crystal toss reading to just take a look at where are you energetically, and things like, are you grounding, and do you have a monkey mind, and what's happening with that monkey mind, and can you get into a place of beginner's mind and follow your soul's calling? So those are some of the things. But truly, I'd love for you to join my mailing list. I'd love for you to follow me on YouTube, Lisa Lansing Wellness. Please subscribe to this channel so that you can keep appraised of all of the upcoming episodes. And I'm really excited about some of the guests that I'm going to be having this year. That's so exciting. I just love this platform. So please follow me on YouTube, Lisa Lansing Wellness on Instagram, Crystal Morningstar on TikTok. Although honestly, I don't post the same sort of content on TikTok. That's really a very different sort of platform. So I hope you'll join me either way. I think that would just be so great to have you in this sphere. So as I move forward, I just want you to know that your body isn't broken at all. It's super intelligent, and it's responding exactly the way an intelligent system responds when it's been carrying too much for too long. When ritual and science move together, when the seen and the unseen are both honored, you stop chasing healing, like it's something outside of you. You come back into coherence. You remember who you are, and you begin to live from the part of you that was whole all along. I'm Lisa Lansing. This is Ritual and Science, where clarity turns into ascension and healing becomes coherent, embodied, and sustainable. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Here's my little heart. Heart beating for you.